Hello, my name is Seven Johnson. I'm a sales engineer with ESET North America. In this video, we are going to talk about ESET Security Solutions and ESET Security Management Center version 7.1. Before we continue, I'd like to tell you a little bit about ESET. ESET is a cybersecurity software vendor with over 30 years of expertise. We are trusted by more than 400,000 businesses around the globe. We utilize a proven multi-layered technology, and we have a full security portfolio for businesses of any size. ESET provides a wide portfolio of tools to reduce exposure and secure your environment. Here you can see how ESET solutions map to Gartner's adaptive security architecture. In the Prevent quadrant, ESET provides proactive prevention via its endpoint security products offering features like device control, network attack protection, advanced memory scanner, and botnet protection. To take prevention even further, ESET offers its multi-factor authentication product, ESET Secure Authentication, which provides multi-factor protection for desktop logins, Windows UAC prompts, remote access management, VPN access, and more. For data privacy and compliance, ESET offers ESET Endpoint Encryption, which provides our customers secure full disk encryption, file and folder encryption, email encryption, and removable media encryption. In the Detect quadrant, we have ESET Enterprise Inspector, our endpoint detection and response solution, which provides improved visibility and other tools for advanced threat detection. The Respond quadrant also contains ESET's enterprise solutions as well as ESET Dynamic Threat Defense, which is our advanced cloud sandbox technology. And finally, in the Predict quadrant, ESET offers its Threat Intelligence, ESET Virus Radar, and We Live Security blog, which provide real-time feeds and industry security reporting to help strengthen your defenses. ESET is known for its advanced, award-winning, trusted, and powerful endpoint security scanning technology. ESET Endpoint is an advanced multi-layered scanner that offers file, web, and email scanning, intrusion detection, network attack protection, ransomware shield, sandboxing, and behavior-based malware scanning. Each ESET endpoint scanner has local machine learning for aggressive threat detection. With its multi-scanner approach and sophisticated design, the ESET endpoint scanner is resource-aware and runs with a very light footprint on your systems. ESET also provides diverse protection for Windows workstations, Windows servers, Macintosh devices, Linux servers and workstations, and mobile devices including Android and iOS. All of these factors, in addition to ESET's LiveGrid cloud-based reputation system, make ESET an award-winning and easy-to-use endpoint security solution for environments of all sizes. With the introduction of ESET Endpoint Products version 7.2, we now offer local machine learning, unified exclusions, interactive alerts configuration to allow you to configure alerts that a user may see, product upgrade improvements to help keep your products up to date, and deep behavioral inspection on the local device. ESET's endpoint security solutions provide complete layered protection for the endpoint. This includes antivirus, anti-malware, anti-spyware, network attack protection, ransomware shield, web scanning, email scanning, and host intrusion protection. In addition, ESET endpoint products provide web content control, device control, and a local firewall, all controlled from a policy on the central management console. Important hallmarks of ESET's endpoint protection are high detection rates, low false positives, and low system resource utilization. ESET's advanced technology, multi-layered scanning, and LiveGrid cloud-based reputation system make ESET an award-winning security solution for environments of all sizes. This next slide illustrates ESET's layered protection technologies. Devices are protected by scanning components that cover all phases of execution. This includes the pre-execution phase, the execution phase, and post-execution. At the center of it all is ESET's centralized management console called ESET Security Management Center, or ESMC for short. ESMC provides powerful IT asset inventory and control for complete visibility and protection of your endpoint machines and protected environment. With ESMC, you can deploy, update, monitor, and manage all of your endpoint security needs remotely from any standard web browser. ESMC fully supports Active Directory, but does not require Active Directory to function. You can import and protect devices from Windows Workgroups, Active Directory, VMware, virtualized environments, and LDAP environments. ESET's award-winning endpoint security solutions are fully managed from the ESMC console, which now includes ESET's full disk encryption product called EFDE. With the introduction of ESET Security Management Center version 7.1, we now offer ESET full disk encryption support to allow you to encrypt devices that are compatible with ESET full disk encryption, device and object tagging to help you keep objects and devices organized within the management console, full support for the MSP automation framework, centralized exclusions, and many user interface and usability improvements. So let's go ahead and jump into the demo for ESET Endpoint Security and ESET Security Management Center. ESET offers diverse endpoint protection for all of your devices and operating systems, including Windows and Macs, Windows servers, Linux servers and workstations, Microsoft SharePoint, Microsoft Exchange, and Android and iOS mobile devices. ESET Endpoint Protection offers modern behavior-based detection methodology, multi-layered scanning for protection during all program run phases. This includes pre-execution, execution, and post-execution scanning. It offers a UEFI scanner, an in-product sandbox, and protection suite installed on the endpoint, including a personal two-way firewall, web control, and device control. Once deployed, ESET security products can all be managed from the centralized management console. The system administrator can also protect their settings and configurations by setting a password on the centralized management console. The ESET Endpoint Scanner is a multi-layered behavior scanner. This includes real-time file system protection to scan files and processes as they are launched or accessed. Cloud-based protection, otherwise known as LiveGrid, is a global reputation and malware monitoring system. Every ESET endpoint can send anonymous data about suspected threats to ESET labs for machine learning analysis. LiveGrid uses machine learning algorithms in the cloud to help us maintain a high detection rate with low false positives. In addition, ESET Dynamic Threat Defense is an optional service that offers powerful cloud-based sandboxing technology. It unpacks and executes previously unseen malware in a secure environment in the cloud run by our malware researchers. Basically, any ESET Dynamic Threat Defense enabled endpoint will send a file to ESET Dynamic Threat Defense for closer analysis using 9 different dynamic machine learning algorithms. If the file is deemed malicious, the file will be blocked and then all ESET Dynamic Threat Defense enabled machines will be alerted. ESET Dynamic Threat Defense allows ESET to identify zero-day exploits and malware. HIPS, or Host-Based Intrusion Prevention System, is a significant part of ESET's total endpoint protection. The HIPS engine encompasses the following endpoint components. Self-defense and protected service prevent malware from disabling, uninstalling, or tampering with your antivirus product. Advanced Memory Scanner monitors system calls and looks for process injection and fileless malware. This technology allows ESET to detect malware that is able to defeat pre-execution scanners. Exploit Blocker blocks exploits from applications and programs like Java, Flash, and document readers such as Adobe Acrobat. Ransomware Shield monitors the behavior of applications and processes that try to modify your personal data. In network protection, we have the firewall that lets you enable the local firewall and also configure any custom rules you may need for the firewall. And we also have network attack protection, which is comprised of an IDS or intrusion detection system. It is a vital scanner designed to block behavior related to network exploits such as Eternal Blue and Double Pulsar, which were exploits used during the WannaCry attack. Botnet protection provides additional ransomware protection against newer threats, as these newer threats rely on downloading encryption keys from command and control servers over the internet. In the web and email section, we have protocol filtering. If enabled, all HTTPS, IMAP, and POP3 traffic will be checked by the scanner. Email client protection increases the level of active protection against malicious code in email messages. Web access protection blocks access to web pages known to contain malicious content. Malicious content will be blocked before it is downloaded. This protects against drive-by downloads and cross-site scripting attacks. Anti-phishing protection blocks web pages known to distribute this type of content. And web control is a web content filter, and it provides full category-based content filtering. Device control allows you to block the use of external or unauthorized devices on your protected endpoints. Device control rules can be created and customized from the central management console. And to summarize, ESET endpoint products are self-contained and fully configurable from the centralized management console. It offers multi-layered protection with behavior-based scanning. It includes a rich feature set such as a local firewall, web control, email scanning, and device control. It is a cloud-connected solution that offers advanced scanning via the LiveGrid reputation system. And it offers high detection rates with low false positives, and yet it is very lightweight on the system. ESET endpoints can be deployed in the environment using several methods. We also offer an additional service known as Rip and Replace. Rip and Replace is a professional service. It simplifies and automates the migration of any endpoint product over to ESET. It can be deployed as a single MSI file. There are no reboots and no downtime required. It does not require any user interaction, and it's guaranteed to work 100% of the time. At this point, let's take a look at ESET's centralized management console. To get started with ESET Security Management Center, navigate to ESET's website and download the installer that's appropriate for your environment. Here you can find installers for Windows servers. The all-in-one installer is the easiest, but you can also download installers for virtual appliances. This includes the virtual appliance provided by ESET that can be launched in either Hyper-V or VMware environments. And you can also download standalone installers and components. This might be helpful if you're going to install on a Linux server, for example. You can also find helpful documentation here, such as the online user guide and system requirements. And we even have a dedicated help site, help.eset.com, where you can download what's new information, infrastructure building and sizing information, how to install, and so on. ESET Security Management Center utilizes a web console to provide real-time visibility for all on-premise and off-premise endpoints, as well as full reporting and security management for all operating systems. It is a single pane of glass over all ESET security solutions deployed in the network, covering desktops, servers, agentless virtual machines, and even managed mobile devices. Once logged in, you could see a quick at-a-glance view of the environment. You can also customize this to meet your needs. If you wanted to change the layout, for example, you can easily do that within the management console. The tabs can also be customized to provide information about various aspects of your environment that you'd like to see. In the computers section here, we can see devices deployed across the environment. You can also see folders. All of your devices can be organized in either static groups or dynamic groups. You can also see icons next to your devices. These show you the various components that are installed on the device, and you can ensure that each device is protected. You can also click a device if you want to get more information about it. Just click it, click Show Details, and you'll get a good amount of information, hardware information, users logged in. You can see which policies are applied. You can actually request log files from the management console. You can execute tasks. You can view installed applications. You can see if there's any alerts for a particular device, and so on. In the computers section, you can also find information on how to deploy to devices. For example, if I wanted to deploy the agent to a machine on my network, I can just select Deploy Agent here. There's some other tasks and some other installation methods as well. You can create an all-in-one installer for your Windows machines. This includes both the agent and the endpoint security product. You can install the agent live installer. I can download the agent, or I can utilize any other method that may be suitable for my environment, such as GPO or SCCM. There's a selection of other tasks you can execute against your devices as well, such as run an online scan, reboot the machine, update modules, run various tasks that you may have configured. You can also send a wake-up call if you wanted to have that device check into the console immediately and report its status and get any tasks that it might be waiting for. You can also remove a device from here if you wanted to. The threats section shows you threats that have been detected in the environment. You can actually find historical threats also by modifying the filters up here. Here I can see some historical threats that have already been resolved. You can also get information about which device they were seen on, which detection component, what the threat was, what action was taken, any file that was associated with the threat, and so on. This is good not only for monitoring the environment, but also for auditing purposes. The reports section has a selection of reports that you can use to get valuable information about devices in your environment. You could also schedule reports to generate themselves on a schedule, and you can have them emailed or written to a server share, whichever you prefer. Client tasks allow you to configure tasks that can be run on your devices. These are things like getting diagnostics on a machine, triggering modules update, running an on-demand scan, installing software, and so on. There's also some other tasks here that you might find useful. In the operating system section, you can display a message to your user screens if you like. You can trigger the operating system update. You can run a command on a remote machine, which is handy for sysadmins to run scripts or other processes that they need to run. You can shut down computers, install software, uninstall software, and there's even some tasks for mobile devices too, for anti-theft. The installers section allows you to build installers and save the installation configuration here. So that way in the future, when you need a particular installer, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just come back here, select the appropriate installer that you configured earlier, and then select download. Policies is where you will define policies that govern how the endpoint products behave in your environment. You would create a policy appropriate for the device type and the operating system type that you're wanting to protect. For example, I have a Windows policy here I can show you. We can look at that. In the detection engine section, we can see the aggressiveness of the scanner and make our preferred settings here. We can control things such as real-time and machine learning protection, potentially unwanted application detection, suspicious applications detection, and potentially unsafe applications detection. You can also set the aggressiveness of the reporting and the protection by selecting the preferred options here. Click Real-Time File System Protection to see how the real-time protection components behave, what is being scanned, if you're doing any kind of cloud scanning, and also you can control any privacy concerns you may have as far as uploading files and so on to ESET. The type of malware scanning that takes place, you can configure the various scans, and you also get some good context information that describes what each setting will do if you choose that particular setting. You can hover over the icon here and see that it tells me what that setting will do. HIPS is the host-based intrusion protection system. Basically, that's a self-defense mechanism for the product. It'll defend itself against any attempts to uninstall or disable its protection components. Updates will come down automatically from either from ESET, or you can configure the updates to come from a machine in your environment. Firewall can be enabled here under network protection. You can also create custom firewall rules. Network attack protection allows you to enable the botnet protection, which is a very important detection component. Web and email allows you to configure email client protection, and this applies to both installed email clients like Microsoft Outlook and also web-based email clients like Yahoo, Gmail, Office 365, and so on. Web access protection allows you to configure the web access settings. This protects websites from, it prevents websites from installing any malicious scripts or any other types of installers. Anti-phishing allows you to enable the anti-phishing protection. Web control allows you to create detailed web control rules. You could create simple rules that block specific URLs. You can also block based on category groups. So for example, if I choose category groups, all I have to do is come in here, choose the categories I want to have blocked, and save my configuration, and those websites will no longer be accessible to your users. Device control allows me to build device control rules. So as an example, I can create a rule that allows a particular vendor or model or serial number, but then I can create a final catch-all rule that'll block everything else by default. So this will allow my Kingston model ABC123 with the serial number in the environment, but any other device type, portable media, portable hard drive, USB key, and so on will be blocked. In the tools, we have various options you can set here. You could schedule scans for the environment. You can specify what type of Windows updates you want to be notified about. There's a selection of other things here. The ESET RMM enables the management of endpoints using the RMM tool. You can also get license information. You can configure the log file information, the verbosity of the log files, how long data is retained for here. If you had a proxy server that you wanted to get your updates from, you can configure that here. Notifications can be configured here. This is handy because it can alert your system admins in the event of a malware attack or any other problem. The user interface can be configured. You have several options when it comes to the interface, and if you have any questions about what the settings do, you can actually select it and you get a description here. You can also customize things like the application statuses in case you wanted to hide particular alerts or pop-ups from your users. You can also customize the behavior of the pop-ups, how rapidly they time out. You can put a password on your policies to prevent any sort of unwanted tampering or users from changing your settings in your environment or disabling your protection. And the override mode allows you to set a temporary override password that perhaps a remote user or remote system admin might need to do some troubleshooting. It allows them to override your settings temporarily based on the time that you specify here, but then once this time is expired, the original settings from your policy will go back into effect. Once you get the policy the way you want it, you can assign it to your devices, and we provide a very flexible method for assigning policies. You could keep things simple and assign it to all. This will apply to all devices with a ESET agent on it that is running the appropriate operating system, and in this case it's a Windows operating system. You can also assign it to individual groups or individual devices. So this makes it very flexible, very easy for you to assign multiple policies to multiple devices, or even create separate policies that apply to different user communities or user groups. In the More section, you can review dynamic group templates, files that have been submitted to ESET for cloud analysis, files and objects that have been quarantined in the environment, and you can get useful information such as the file hash, whether or not the object is restorable or excludable, the detection type, the detection name, and how many computers this object has been detected on. In the exclusions section, you could create on-the-fly exclusions for items that have been detected in the environment, which will allow you to quickly make an exclusion for things that perhaps you don't want to have excluded, such as potentially unwanted applications or potentially unsafe applications. In license management, you can import and manage your licenses from the ESET Security Management Center console. You can also create users who are able to access the console and create custom permission sets for each user depending on their job role or function. Peer certificates allows you to view and manage your peer certificates within the product. These certificates were created automatically when the product was installed, but if you had any custom or third-party certificates that you wanted to use, you could manage those here. Certification authorities allows you to view and manage any certification authority certificates or create new certification authorities if necessary. Server tasks allows you to run tasks against your ESET Security Management Center server, things like deploy an agent, delete not connecting computers that may have been decommissioned or not seen for a while, generate reports. You can also rename computers, do a static group sync, which is basically a Active Directory or other LDAP type sync that can be configured here. And server settings allows you to configure advanced settings such as the port that's being used and things like the proxy, wake on LAN information, and also SMTP type information. You can also configure things such as Active Directory information, syslogging server details if you had an external syslogging server or SIM tool you wanted to use, for example. You could configure the type of logging that takes place, the verbosity of the logging, and also the format. JSON or Leaf are the most common formats. And finally, you have the database cleanup, which allows you to set the retention for the data within the log files. You also have the ability to customize the appearance of the user interface if you choose. You can enable some co-branding or white labeling if you're an MSP. This allows you to put your logo at the top and set any other background or display preferences that you may have. Before we close, I'd like to introduce yet another important feature that was introduced with ESET Security Management Center version 7.1. We've added support for full disk encryption with our ESET full disk encryption product, otherwise known as EFDE. To use the EFDE product in your environment, you would add the appropriate license to your ESET Security Management Center console, and then you can begin to manage the encryption for compatible Windows devices. You could set an encryption policy that can let you control things such as the encryption options, whether you want encryption enabled, if you want to encrypt the boot disk or all disks, whether you want to use trusted platform module capabilities. You can also set password policies for the encryption pre-boot. You could set the options for the user interface. And there's also some tools here that you can configure, such as a proxy server. To view the status of encrypted devices, you could come to the computer section here, and you can see that I have an example machine that is encrypted. I could click that, say Show Details, and in there, I can view the encryption status. I can also manage the encryption, such as restoring access for a lost or forgotten password. I can also block access if I want to remove the user's credentials from the encrypted hard drive. Once an endpoint has been encrypted, the user will need to validate the login credentials at the pre-boot authorization prompt. Once they enter valid credentials, they will be taken into the Windows operating system where they can use the device as they normally would. And with that, we have pretty much reached the end of our brief overview of ESET Security Management Center. ESET Security Management Center is ESET's enterprise-grade security management solution, which provides visibility, management, and reporting across all operating systems and devices. So this concludes our demonstration of ESET Security Management Center version 7.1. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for choosing ESET.